Hello, friends. Good morning. There's a baby. It's being naughty. Hello, everyone. How's it going? How's everyone doing? What are you doing? Oh, why is everyone gathering? Please disperse. All of the animals are near me and it's making me anxious. How's it going, guys? Happy Thursday. Do not do that. Don't do that. Don't start as soon as I start stream, dude. This fucking cat, man. It's like he knows. It's like you know that things are happening and you're not, ow, and you're not supposed to be there. I'm gonna whap you, dude. Whap. Hi, Whimsy. Oatmeal is being a naughty boy. Never mind, he's being a good boy now. He's just laid in his bed. He knows, man. He knows that I'm like doing stuff and he's like, what's going on over here? Wouldn't it be a shame if I were to walk behind your monitors and fuck up your camera? How's it going? How's everyone doing? We are back at it with our, don't do that. Okay, yeah, do that. He's laying just like off, just to the side. Whatever, man. Whatever. He can do what he wants. He's gonna do it anyway. I might as well just let it happen. It's like Joel with magic cards. We just gotta let it happen. How's everyone doing today? I did not stream on Tuesday because I realized that I was productive and I needed to be productive and I needed to ride that wave. So we were productive. We started packing up some stuff. Just little things, little knickknacks, which was nice. But now we're back and we are working on Mass Effect, which we've got a lot. We've got a lot going on. Off stream, I did write out all of the combat, wherever that is. It's somewhere. It's definitely some. Okay, so we did all of the combat. So we have basically how combat works with the maps and the zones because it is working in zones. We've got things like the zone features, which can affect your rolls. So we've got cluttered. So if a zone is cluttered, that means that you are going to be suffering on your mobility rolls. Dimly lit observation rolls are going to have a -2 modifier. You're very cute. You're very cute. I know you are. Hi. Hello, Lummox. Don't forget raccoons for dish. Oh, Lex. Sithy, 33, that's a good number. That's a good number, Sithy. That's like a really good number. That's a good number in my family. Relax. Stop it. Why are you swatting me? I'm trying to pet you. You're a cat. Let me pet you. Don't. He's got his little paw just ready. I'm trying to pet you. Stop. Get her. Don't cheer him on. He's my. Ow! Stop it. Stop. I have a shield. Rude. I feel like I'm trapped in my own like stream right now. Because he keeps trying to go behind my monitor. And now he's swatting at me. Stop it. Be a good boy. I didn't raise you like this. Anyway. Oatmeal is a good boy. He's a good boy when he's getting what he wants. And when he's not, he's thrashing. Time to spar. Just gonna see him launch himself at me. Just get taken out by my cat. We've got, so another zone feature is cramped. So it means that you are only able to crawl, not run through the area. We've got borders and line of sight and things that can affect that. The ranges, which is engaged, which is actually, a lot of this is pretty similar to Mothership as well as obviously like Alien, because that's what we're pulling a lot of things from is the Alien and the Year Zero engine. So engaged means that they're right next to you. Short range is a few meters away. Medium is 25 meters away or in an adjacent zone. Long is up to 100 meters, 4 zones away. And then extreme is up to a kilometer away. I like the way that they say it in Mothership. Engaged is obviously they can touch you. Close combat. Short range would be just gonna let it happen. I just gotta let it happen, guys. We just gotta let him do what he needs to do. He's gone now. Short range or close is they can get to you. Medium is, I believe, that you can hear them, or you can see them, and then long is you can hear them. Measuring time. So we separated it out a little bit differently. So it's actually going to be stretch. So originally in the Year Zero engine, sort of in the Year Zero engine, they have it so that it's round, turn, shift. And I think that would get confusing, especially for those like myself who are sort of D&D coded with like our thinking for TTRPGs. What's up, Vlad? Because round is 5 to 10 seconds and they had turn, which would be 5 to 10 minutes. So we changed turn to stretch because I think that is a little bit more appropriate of a unit of measurement instead of, because normally when I think of I think of a turn in a round. So you have round usually, and then each person's turn in that round is called the turn. So we changed that to stretch, and then shift is 5 to 10 hours. And then the primary use, round is for combat, stretch is for stealth / exploration, and then shift is for recovery and travel. We've got a little bit more with the stealth mode and how stealth mode operates, how enemies move and detection. Actions and initiatives. So initiative for this is basically you each draw a card. So 1 to 10. Whoever acts first is going to be number 1, and then 2, and then so on and so forth. So you want to draw the lower number. And then obviously if like you don't have cards available, they have things like card drawers on like the internet, and then as well as you can use like a D10. And then for enemies all act on, like, groups of enemies all act on the same turn. So like if there were xenomorphs, they would all act on the same turn. If there was face huggers, like they would all act on the same turn, sort of thing. So like the Geth would all act on the same turn. Then we have a list of different, we've got a list of different actions. So how combat is in a round, you get to perform either a slow action or a fast action, or you get to perform 2 fast actions. So here are a list of things that you can do within your turn, slow action and fast action. I think that it's pretty reasonable. So you can crawl, you can do a close combat attack, shoot firearm, burst to full auto fire, you can throw weapon, reload, first aid, stop panic, give orders, persuade, use a signature item, and then your signature item is basically something that like you can use to remove a point of stress. First time in the design stream, can you do a TLDR of the main rules? So this is, if you're familiar with the Year Zero engine, this is basically pulling pretty much from the Year Zero engine and the Alien RPG. But we're kind of reflavoring it and redoing a lot of the aspects of like character creation and stuff for Mass Effect. But it is a D6 system. So you will roll a pool of D6s. 6s are a success. If you don't have a 6, you don't have a success. If you roll a 1, that means that you panic and you have to roll on a panic table. You accumulate stress as well throughout this. And so the stress die gets added to your pool of dice. And if you roll a 1 on one of the stress dice, you panic. And bad things happen. because I kind of want this game to be pretty nitty gritty in terms of like the mortality of it. What's up, ad? Because of hive mind, yeah. Yep, because of hive mind, that's why. Plus it's just easier in combat to have all of the enemies, like groups of enemies act on the same turn instead of having to worry about 7 million different initiatives. But yeah, it's a D6 system. You have your basic abilities. I can scroll all the way up. We've got a lot here. So we have your attributes and your skills. So we've got strength, agility, wits, and empathy. And then each of those have 4 subset of skills. So if like you are trying to make a first aid roll, you would be making that first aid roll with the accumulation of your first aid and your empathy. So if you have like a 3 in empathy and a 2 in first aid, you would be rolling 5 d6s. And then if you get a 6, it's a success. And you only need 1 6 most of the time. Is there a mechanic to mitigate panic rolls? Yes. So you can get kind of snapped out of your panic by someone making, I think it's like some sort of empathy roll. So I think that would probably be a manipulation roll in order to kind of get snapped out of your panic. But also the panic tends to snowball really quickly. So you want to make sure if you're accumulating a lot of stress, you're doing really what you want to do is mitigate the stress that you're accumulating. I love Mass Effect, but always thought space TTRPGs would be difficult to run in a way. I think it kind of depends, Jenga. I think that there is that sort of difficulty when it comes to things in space such as travel, because you have to kind of think, are you going to be running a very realistic space travel game where you have to worry about things like time dilation and like how quickly you can move through space, or are you going to kind of run it a little loosey-goosey where you're kind of just getting like the meat of it and not really worrying about all of like the little nitty-gritty details? Yes, the system uses dice pools. So for a specific check, you'd roll a greater number of d6s, the higher your score. Yes, so if you have, if you've got 5 in empathy and 2 in first aid, you'd roll 7 d6s. If like you're rolling an insight and you only have one in insight, you'd roll like your empathy and your insight score. So you basically take what your attribute is and then the skill, and you add those 2 numbers together, and then you roll the pool. Boy, seems like you'd roll. So I misspoke before. So you only roll a panic roll if you roll a 1 on your stress die. But your stress die do factor into successes as well. So you get a, so if you have, let's say, if you're rolling a first aid, you've got 3 in empathy, 2 in first aid, and then you also have 2 stress die. So you would be rolling 7 dice. And then if you get a 6, you succeed. However, if you roll a 1 on your stress die, that means that you panic. And sometimes if you roll on the panic table, nothing happens. If your stress is low enough and you roll like a 3 on the panic table, nothing happens. You're fine. You kind of shake it off. However, as that stress begins to accumulate, you get more and more. There's more of a chance that something bad is going to happen to you when you panic, because the higher that you roll, because basically what you do is you roll a d6 and then you add your stress, and that is the number on the panic table. So the more stress you accumulate, the higher the number is going to be on your panic roll, and the worse things could happen. And then we've got our human and all of our races. I think that today we're going to work on the Geth and the Drell, because I do want to have, what I would like to do is I would like to have you be able to basically roll a character purely with tables, and I think having, I think we would have 8 races to choose from if I finish out the Geth and the Drell. So I think that would be fun. And then I want to be able to choose like your character background and then your character class, which the classes are pulled directly from the games. So there's nothing like crazy about that. However, in terms of background, I've made it so that you could be something other than just like an Alliance soldier or like an Asari commando. That is an option, but system sense. Yeah, I mean, it's the Year Zero engine. It's nothing like I came up with that's like super crazy or super like innovative and original. But I think that for a Mass Effect space TTRPG, I think that the Year Zero engine is just kind of perfect for that, especially because you can draw from like the Alien RPG, which I love. I love the Alien RPG. So I think that it's okay to borrow and to take things in order to make them your own, especially because there's no Mass Effect TTRPG out there. And it's very bizarre to me that that's not a thing. I've seen like people use, they've done stuff like a 5e version of Mass Effect. I'm like, I don't like that. You're welcome, Whimsy. Seen a lot of Year Zero engine, but never played it. I highly recommend it. I think that it's like one of the best systems out there. Tales from the Loop is a Year Zero engine game. Pretty much any Free League game is Year Zero engine. And there are 2 different sort of subsets of Year Zero engine. One that uses a dice pool and then another that uses dice steps. So like, I think how that one works is if like you're more proficient in a skill, you get to roll like a higher die number. So you get to roll like a D12 versus if you're not proficient, you would roll like a D4 or D6. But I'm not super familiar with that version of the Year Zero engine. But Tales from the, yeah, we've played Tales from the Loop in one of our little community games. I really enjoy that kind of world as well. All right, let's go back down. So we've got initiative, we got your slow and fast action. We've got things like helping others, and how that works in the game. We've got movement and how movement works. Ambushes and sneak attacks. Close combat. And I'm not going to go through all of these because these are basically ripped straight from the Year Zero engine. Have you ever seen? I haven't. It is the same gig though. It's like the same universe, supposed to be the same universe. Because the Tales from the Loop as well as the Electric State were all taken from, they were adapted from books by, I believe, I don't know if they're Swedish artists, but those were like, they're supposed to be the same universe. Yeah, no worries, man. We've got blocking, grappling, how to retreat, shove. We got ranged combat. And these are all things that can affect the modification for a ranged combat roll. We've got resolution, basically how what happens if your attack hits. So if your attack hits, you inflict damage equal to the weapon's damage rating on your opponent. For every extra D6, every extra 6 you roll, you get to choose a stunt. So if you roll a success, so if you're making an attack, you roll a 6, that's a success. However, if you roll another 6, you get to choose the list from the list here on what extra thing you want to do. So if you roll a 6 and you're like, wow, I want to do 1 additional point of damage, you can do that. And it also kind of stacks. So if you roll like 3 6s, you can do this twice. Or you can choose a different stunt. But I like the stunt system in this engine. I think it's really fun to have that little extra bit kind of worked into the system if you roll extra successes. We got full auto fire. We've got how cover works. Basically, cover has its own armor rating, and this is very similar to Mothership as well. In Mothership, you have all of the cover that you take. So, like, depending on the type of cover, you get an armor rating for that, for taking cover behind it. And then we've got ammo. And how ammo works. We've got Overwatch, which is a really cool thing that you can do in combat. So basically, you assume Overwatch position in a specified direction, and as long as you have a ranged weapon and no enemies are within engaged range, you can resume Overwatch. But you aim in that specified direction, and you're ready to shoot, and then you can fire your weapon at any time between when you assume Overwatch position and when it's your time to act in a round. No cover if you run out in the open. Thanks for lurking, Chunky. I had to admit to Joel the other day that he would have lived. But I didn't say, he just said I had to admit that he would have lived. But I didn't say out loud that he would have lived if he didn't choose a stupid thing to do. So I still win that argument. Why? I can't remember. He was withholding something from me. I think it was, I think he was holding my coffee hostage. But we all know in our heart of hearts that he would not have won. He would not have lived. Because it's a T-Rex and it's coming at you and you're covered in T-Rex urine. Damage, so and your starting health. So your starting health is equal to your strength. And that seems like a low score. However, because like if you only have like a 5 strength, like you're only gonna have 5 health. But the whole point is that you're not gonna want to be taking damage, and you're gonna want to have armor on to mitigate any damage that you do take. Live and die by the choices you make. Yep. And then we've got recovery. What happens if you're broken, which is basically broken is kind of like unconscious in D&D terms. Getting back up. Your coup de grace. Hello. What are you doing?
Fine.
Oh, Joel's home. We've got your critical injuries and then how death occurs. So critical injuries, you're basically going to roll on the table and then something bad happens to you if you get a critical injury. I would never be in danger in Mass Effect because I would never leave the house. Creature said hi. Oh, did you leave it on? That's so sad. That is so...
I had texted...
Amazing.
I had texted my coworker. I was like, hey, could you give me a coffee?
Joel left his coffee here this morning when he went to work. That is so sad. R.I.P. I think that if I lived in like any sort of like sci-fi universe, I probably would also not leave my house. So there is that.
Sit. Sit. Hey. Sit.
Relax. Getting old, I guess.
Sit.
I feel like, I don't know, I've left my coffee at home before on my way to work, but I worked really close to my house, so I've literally just turned around before and been like, nope, I need my coffee.
Okay.
Till a Reaper lands on your house. I'd prefer living in Mass Effect to 40k. That's true. I mean, if we're going to live in like any universe, I guess Mass Effect isn't so bad compared to others. I don't know if I would want to live in like the Alien universe. I feel like the Alien universe would be really bad. Although I think that like it would be really easy to just like avoid xenomorphs, you know? Like just don't fuck around with things that shouldn't be fucked around with, you know? The baby has like a 1,000-yard stare going on right now. I think he's traumatized by something. But critical injuries, as long as you still have health left, damage points represent fatigue, bruises, or smaller cuts. Painful to be sure, but possible to overcome. Critical injuries represent a much more dangerous form of injury. These can maim or kill you. When knocked down to 0 health, roll a d66 on a critical injury table. So when you reach 0, you roll d66, so it's just 2d6. And then whatever that result is the effect that happens to you. And it can be something like super, like you get winded. So you got pretty much no effects. Nothing really bad happens to you. Or you can get things like a ruptured aorta. And then, so what would happen is you have basically 1 round to fix it. Or else you will die. And then you would also have things like a pierced head. You die immediately. Impaled heart. Die immediately. Disemboweled. Die immediately. And then there are also things like permanent mental trauma. Which is something that can happen as well. Okay, Joel. Yeah, plenty of folks live out their lives in the alien universe. I have no idea about the xenomorphs. I just don't want. I don't want to be one of those lucky few that knows about them. You know, if I'm just like an ordinary person, no idea. Yeah, cool. I'm like chilling out on like a colony somewhere that's like there's no aliens around. Tight, cool, love it. Hi, is that mine?
I like you.
Got a smoothie, guys.
I like.
Augers. And then we've got healing, how you can heal. Obviously the normal things if someone tends to you, if they make a first aid roll. I do want to put something about Metagel here and how Metagel works. Metagel. That'll be my little reminder. We've got stress and panic. So the stress for this game is a little bit more forgiving than the stress for Mothership, because with Mothership, anytime you fail a roll, you gain stress, which is crazy. You can accumulate stress really fucking quickly. Oh, hi, Arti. So stress here is usually accumulated throughout a various ways. So you push a skill roll. So essentially when you push a skill roll, it's re-rolling dice that you failed on at the expense of taking a stress point. So if you fail a roll, you can re-roll that. However, you're going to take the stress point. That is like kind of the consequence of that. You fire a burst of full auto fire. I think I might want to take that off because, like, depending on like who you are, like what your sort of background is, I don't think that that's really going to be super stressful for you. Oh boy. Oh boy. Why do I have so many sandwiches? Oh, it's one. There's bread though. Whoa. Whoa, guys.
I was expecting something more than just you looking at me. Oh.
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 Oh. You cannot afford. I have to sneeze. A mixture of aliens and oh my god. I was a teenage exocolonist. You guys haven't played I was a teenage exocolonist? You really should. This is like me. Get out of here. Stop. Stop eating my food, dog. I'm a pusher of many things in this world. One of those is I was a teenage exocolonist. Another one is Yellow Jackets.
Good question. First question. Yes or no?
No. What?
Validates question.
Okay. Joel likes to play this game where he'll ask me yes or no, and then he won't tell me the context.
Fine, it was... I get hot.
No. You already did last night.
And then the follow-up question, had you said yes, is what are the odds that I get hired last night?
You guys think it's easy. It's not. It's not easy. Anyway, when you suffer damage, you take stress. If you go without sleep, food, or water, you perform a coup de grace. So basically a coup de grace is, oh my god, this fucking cat, dude. Cat, man. You know, when I'm like not at my computer, no one bothers, like, is over here. Did you know that? Did you know that, like, when I'm not at my computer, my fucking camera's blurry. When I'm not at my computer, he's super chill and does not come over here. I can't wait to be able to lock people out. I cannot wait to, like, lock people out of my office. I do. So basically a coup de grace is a broken character is defenseless. If it's a humanoid being and you want to kill your target outright, you must fail an empathy roll. Whether or not you succeed at killing your target, you increase your stress level by 1. Killing in cold blood is not that easy. If you have the merciless talent, you can kill defenseless enemies without this negative effect. So basically, when you kill someone or when you attack someone who is defenseless, you're going to take a stress point because morality, attention-seeking behavior. A member of your own crew attacks you. So if you get attacked by, like, if one of your friends attacks you, yeah, you're gonna take a fucking stress point. Here we have panic roll. So you roll 1 or more 1s on your stress die in a skill roll. That is when you make a panic roll. If you witness a friendly character suffering from a certain panic effect, you may have to roll a panic roll. You're pinned down by a ranged attack, you might have to roll a panic roll. If you suffer a critical injury, you might have to roll a panic roll. If something really horrifying occurs, the GM might ask for you to roll a panic roll. No friends, no stress. Or this is like more money, more problems kind of vibe. And then stopping panic, another character comes to your aid and makes an insight roll. This counts as a slow action in combat. So if you are panicking, someone can come to your aid and roll an insight check. And if they succeed on the insight check, they're able to break you from your panic. If you are broken, so if you go down, your panic ends. And then 1 stretch passes. So basically 5 to 10 minutes passes. You're able to sort of work out your panic, make it subside. I also think if I had more money, I would be okay with the problems that come from that. Because at least I wouldn't be suffering the problems of having no money. Permanent mental trauma. So if you have rolled a result of 13 or higher on a panic roll during a game session, you must make an empathy roll after the session. Roll for the attribute only, not using any skill. If the roll succeeds, you develop a permanent mental trauma of some kind. Roll a d6 and consult the permanent mental trauma. So right here, if you roll 13 or higher on your panic roll, after the session, you'll make an empathy roll. And if you succeed, you develop a mental trauma. So that's like the one time you don't want to succeed on a roll. And then here is the panic roll table. Again, like 1 to 6, if you roll 1 to 6, if you have a really low stress number and you panic, and if you roll really low, keeping it together, you manage to keep your nerves in check, but barely. 7, nervous twitch, and this affects people, your crew that are in short range of you. You can get a tremble, you can drop an item, and the GM decides what item that is. You could freeze, and you lose your next slow action. You'll try to run and seek cover. You could scream, and then that could alert people, and it also will cause anyone around you to have to make a panic roll, anyone who can hear you scream. You flee. You must flee to a safe place and refuse to leave it. You are not allowed to make a retreat roll if you have an enemy at engaged range when you flee. You are going to basically take whatever off shot they're going to get on you. Berserk is essentially you kind of just go into a rage and you attack whoever is nearest to you, whether they are friendly. And then catatonic is you just collapse on the floor and can't talk or move. For the most part, NPCs will not make panic rolls. However, they will panic when it is like up to the GM. So if it is a situation where I feel like everyone is panicking, then the NPCs will panic. And then the NPCs panicking can increase the stress level of PCs nearby. Again, this is kind of just up to like GM discretion. What's up, Brad? How's it going? I have mac and cheese. I also have potato soup. I didn't get broccoli cheddar, which I might regret. I don't know yet. Unsure. But yeah, that is basically what I worked on the other day, was all of that combat stuff, which is pretty in-depth, but I think it's also pretty like intuitive if you've like ever played a TTRPG before. Let's go. Got some Panera, dude. Let's see. So we've got shipbuilding, which we had gone over before. And all of the different upgrades you can get. And I do want to go in, and I'm not really worried about the shipbuilding right now because for the playtest I want to do, it's not really relevant because I kind of just want to playtest character creation and combat situations. Skill rolls. What is skill rolls? Anyway, we've gotten combat out of the way. We have to finish up character creation. Does anyone remember what skill rolls was? I like how I made this note to myself and I don't fucking remember. What's up, Curtis? How is the con? I've gotten several people who have messaged me or said in chat that they really liked my character sheets. When is the playtest? It's gonna be May 10th, not May 3rd. I realized that I'm going to be in New York on May 3rd. So, May 10th. Did you have fun, Curtis? Did you have a blast? They loved it. I'm so glad. That like makes me so happy that people were enjoyed it. Got your nice. I'm excited. Apparently, someone, I will not name names, someone took my name badge and may or may not send it to me, so I'll be getting that as well. Hell yeah, nice. What is the skill rolls? What was the skill rolls? What was I doing for the skill rolls? I cannot remember. We'll remember at some point. But I think we're gonna work on character creation now that it's been like a half an hour, 45 minutes. Let's go work on... We're going to work on the Geth and the Drell. Playing Mass Effect RPG campaign would complete me. I mean, so my whole goal of this is to make a system that you can just kind of like that is very easy, especially like for those who are like familiar with like the Mass Effect world, that is easy for them to use and to kind of create their own story. But I also really want to make I really want to write out a couple of like little adventures, a couple of little modules, maybe set up for like what like a full campaign that someone might be able to just run and go with. I think that would be like the goal, the end goal. And I know I'm not going to be able to do it all like at once. I think like just getting the system down is going to be like the most important thing, but I'm already like, man, I just can't wait to like write adventures and stuff. Cause I think my favorite thing, I like doing the little mechanical aspects of game creation. But what I really love is doing all of like the narrative stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like you can just pull directly from like those and like kind of have little modules based off of those, like the DLC. We've got a couple of ideas too. Some people have said in chat like a couple of different ideas. So we have your party plays as a Cerberus cell that realizes during the turn from humanism to supporting the Reapers and go rogue. So this is when Cerberus like starts to get really fucking crazy at the end of like 2 and into going into 3. And so you could play basically a Splinter Cell that like cuts off from them, being in a colony taken over by the Reapers. An R. Yakshi one shot. I think Sithy said the spring break in Florida one shot. Short runs of the game to test it, yeah. And that's like another thing, like I think having pre-built little modules is a good way to kind of stress test, especially like if I kind of hand them off to like someone else to run. Just kind of like, and run with like different groups. It's a good way to stress test with different groups, because I can kind of anticipate what like most people that I play with, and I've played with pretty regularly, like how they might play the game. But that's not to say like every table is going to be the same and stuff. So I think like a good way to stress test the system is kind of have that controlled, the controlled section of this is a one-shot module. Here is how you run it. Okay, let's see how people play it. Alternate between combat one-shots and narrative one-shots. Kind of test how well the system is in terms of like skill rolling and things like that, like outside of combat. And like making sure that you're kind of able to use the skills that you want to use for certain situations, and like how useful a skill is like in actuality in gameplay. I don't know if that made sense. It made sense in my head. That's all that matters. All right. Sorry, I'm going to be alternating between eating and sipping my smoothie, but...
It's a little hungry.
All right, so we are going to... let us copy and paste stuff. Because we're pulling straight from the wiki in terms of... we'll rework and rewrite some stuff, but I know a lot of the stuff on the wiki is pulled straight from the codexes anyway. I think you'll have so many. Yeah, and like I know that like if I tell you guys, hey, I want to like just run a couple of one-shots like back-to-back weekends, I feel like most people will be like, yeah, of course. Yeah, cool. Okay, so we have the Geth, servant of the people in Kalesh, are a race of networked artificial intelligences that reside beyond the Perseus Veil. The Geth were created by the Quarians as laborers and tools of war. When the Geth became sentient and began to question their masters, the Quarians attempted to exterminate them. The Geth won the resulting war and reduced the Quarians to a race of nomads. The history of the Geth's creation and evolution serves as a warning to the rest of the galaxy of potential dangers of artificial intelligence and to the legally enforced systematic repression of artificial intelligences throughout the galactic society. And so we want talents. Whoa, talents. Cadet Sithert reporting for duty. That's like the good thing about like having like such a good community too, is I know that you guys are like, hell yeah, every time I have my my little crazy thoughts that I want to just ride out. How embarrassing to be defeated by your own space Roombas. Okay. So I think I'm gonna open to find the Year Zero engine. Where are you? There it is. You're going to look at, hi, I have nothing for you. Do not come over here sniffing your little snoot in the air. I have nothing for you. You're very cute. I'm aware. Okay, yeah. Good animals, they said. They're so fun, they said. let's see. I want to choose some of the talents, and I believe that we chose the talents. A lot of them were actually chosen from the talents that kind of already existed. What talents would we be able to choose for? Yes. I kind of think menacing would be a pretty cool one for the Geth. You have a scary physical presence. I think that like being an artificial intelligence, I feel like that would be pretty menacing, like from the get-go. What do you guys think? Robot zombies, dude. Daywalkers. Let's see, we've got hard hitter, healer, inquisitive. I don't know about inquisitive. Creature, I think of that like almost daily. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're just going, daywalkers. I want to say merciless. Merciless is you can perform a coup de grace without rolling for empathy, which makes sense. A robot would probably not feel anything for killing a human, or a humanoid at least. Playable race Elcor, we'll add it. We'll add it eventually. Yeah, that was from the Tales from the Loop game. I do eventually want to add like all of like the little not lesser races, but like none of like the main races, like the Volus, I think would be really fun to add. No qualms about curb stomping you in Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. I got you, Jenga. I kind of think Inquisitive might be a good one as well. You can push any skill roll based on wits twice. And I think also because that is one of the Quarian ones, I want to kind of give them a couple of similar ones to the Quarians to really kind of push the narrative that, you know, the Geth are fairly similar to the Quarians because they were made by the Quarians. Nimble. And reckless. So we need 3 more. And Geth would have, yup. I think reckless as well, just because like I feel like for the most part, if we like take just like out of like obviously like a player would be playing the Geth with some sort of personality, but for the most part, like a robot really wouldn't have any sort of sense of self-preservation, right? Maybe if they have a personality. Like, yeah, like, you know, maybe if they have a personality. Also, I'm also gonna open, oh, it's bright. It's bright. I wish my file system had a dark mode. It's my eyeballs. The Gethriz. doesn't. Not Legion could get it. Yeah, Windows. Is there a dark mode for Windows for the file system? Because I have my like system set to dark mode. Doesn't work. Make everything charcoal colored. Those are structural weaknesses. Do not use them. Let's see. Itachi. Do a little buzzing vibration mode for them. There is a one called Take Control. You can roll for manipulation using wits instead of empathy. And I know that's like the collector's like assuming control, but I kind of like that. I kind of like that for the Geth. So basically you can persuade someone by being more witty and less empathetic. And then I think we're gonna do resilient. So roll for strength anytime you suffer damage. Can't push the roll, which does not count. Whoop. Six you roll. I can type, guys, I swear. Point of damage is eliminated. If all damage is eliminated, suffer none at all. Okay, that's 6 right there. I think that's pretty good. I feel like it's a different, it's pretty different from, or at least has a couple of things that are similar, but fairly different from the other races as well, which is, you know, I want to have a pretty healthy mix of different talents available to every race so that you can definitely make the type of character that you want to make. That is really my ultimate goal when it comes to this, is being able to make a character that you want without like the confines of, oh, you're playing a Geth, therefore you have to play a tech of some kind. Like you have to be really into tech.
Yeah, they should be different. Take a bite of my sandwich.
You guys want some? It's barbecue chicken. I brought enough to share. Yeah, it's from Panera. Me too. I like their soup. Alright, and then we have the Drell. And I know that, like... I know that the Drell, I feel like the Drell aren't, like, one of the main... Get out of here, dude. Your little wet snoot. I know that the Drell aren't, like, one of the main races in Mass Effect, but I did kind of want to keep it so that, like, I had all of the races that were available for companions in Mass Effect are available as playable in this one. Yeah, they're going to be very, I think, very stealth-based. We'll obviously give them a couple of other ones if you want to play it a little differently, but... So the Drell are a reptile-like race that were rescued from their dying homeworld by the Hanar following first contact between the two. Since then, the Drell have remained loyal to the Hanar for their camaraderie and have fit comfortably into galactic civilization. So we've got talents. Let's see. I'm going to say fast reflexes are probably going to be one of them. So that allows you to draw 2 initiative cards instead of 1 during the initiative draw, and you get to choose which one you want to use. I'm going to say nimble. So that's another kind of quick one. So you can push any skill roll based on agility twice, not just like the other characters. Each push increases your stress level by 1. Let's see. I feel like give them companionship bonus because of their shape of water physique. I made a Shape of Water reference the other day, and I don't know what it was. What I was actually like saying. I just know I made a Shape of Water reference. I think we're gonna do Calming Presence, given like their whole like religious thing. So once per turn. Probably something about a trapdoor peanuts. Just the... You may reduce the stress level of another character within short range by 1 to the normal stress recovery. In order to use this talent, you and any character that hopes to benefit from your calming presence. Do you ever just get like, I just get really distracted by the animals sometimes. I just saw like the baby just being weird. And I was like, what's he doing? Calming presence must be in a relatively safe place. I think that's pretty Drell to me. Dodge. When attacked in close combat, you can dodge. This works like blocking, but you roll using mobility instead of close combat, and you can only use it to reduce damage. That's 4. randomly repeatedly kicking the air. I think killer kind of makes sense, at least from what we know from like Thane. That also gives you like a little, like I feel like all of these ones so far are a little bit more passive, but this one gets you to be a little bit more active. Is also, yeah, all subject to change at a later date. Yeah, like you gotta start somewhere, right? You know, it's good to have like a good baseline at least. I kind of want to do quick draw. You draw your weapon so quickly it doesn't cost you an action. And I think that's kind of those 8 classes, 8 species, races. Pretty good. Yep, 8. Which is what I wanted. I wanted to have like a number where we can like roll on a table. So like if someone's like, I don't really know what kind of character I want to play. I was like, here you go. Here's a character for you, just roll on the table. I also think like there'll be like a little like disclaimer sort of like in the character creation section where it's like, if you think that another talent would suit your character and like the race better, you know, GM discretion, kind of up to you, you know? Kind of up to you and your GM. Got 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Quite a bit of backgrounds. I'm gonna go in and flush out the backgrounds probably off stream because that's just gonna be like me like writing little like blurbs about it. And we've got our classes. That's another thing we have to do. We've got to work on the specializations. Backgrounds, write out blurbs for each one. What will specializations do? I haven't really, not really landed on anything like in particular. I think that it's just gonna be like, so if you choose, like if you choose, let me know, see which one is like a really good one to choose. Okay, like Sentinel. So if you're a Sentinel, at some point when you accumulate enough XP points, you can choose to narrow down on your specialization, either Guardian or Raider. And each of those will have like something. I'm not really quite sure where I want to head with it in terms of like actual mechanics. I think it's going to be kind of like similar to like a talent where you're going to be able to narrow in and like kind of get that really good mechanical boost. So I imagine Guardian will be something where you are able to do something that is going to be beneficial for the entire party, whereas Raider is going to be something that's going to be more beneficial for you. But yeah, so once you have enough XP points, you'll be able to choose a specialization. You can only choose one specialization. It's basically like choosing like your subclass, essentially. But it's not going to be as expansive, obviously, as like D&D. Yeah, something flavorful and class defining. Yeah. A little bit of narrative mixed in with some good mechanics, because if you're spending XP points, you want something that's going to be like beneficial mechanic wise. You know? Like an exile on 15-second cooldown. Creature never forgets. I was playing Marvel Rivals earlier today. Fuck Wolverine, bro. I hate that motherfucker. I was playing Doctor Strange and he's kidnapping my ass. Taking my ass hostage. Across the map. There I go. Goodbye. This is not what I wanted. Here I am. Dash in, kidnap. He was just literally just whoop. Okay. Wolverine. Fucking menace, dude. And I can't do anything. I can't, he's yoink. He just takes me, you know? Well, here I go. Goodbye, everyone. See you back at spawn. Pissed me off. Get good, kids. Fucking bastard, dude. Or if anyone, like, doesn't like either the image of me eating or, like, the sound of me eating. I'm just really hungry. You want a chimichanga? Delicious. I had some cereal this morning and then I was like dooting around like this afternoon and I was like, huh. And Joel was like reminding me that we were getting Panera today, so I was like, ugh, it's too late now. I don't want to eat, because then if I eat, I'm not gonna eat dinner. Wow, that is vegetables is how I spelled vehicles. Just going through and seeing like kind of what all I have so far. What did you get for lunch from McDonald's? I did that, I think 2 days ago. We had Wendy's for dinner, and for whatever reason, I got both a chicken sandwich and chicken nuggets, and I ate both of those, and I was like, wow, this is too much. I shouldn't have done this. Two cheeseburgers and fries with vanilla shake. Oh yeah, the cheeseburgers, dude. Smarties the show gave me put me over the edge. Joel and I usually get Dick's after the gym on Wednesdays. And I've realized that because I normally get 2 burgers and like so like the Dick's burgers are like tiny. So they're like not that big. So like 2 burgers is really like the equivalent of like basically 1 like McDonald's burger. But I realized that I was like, I don't like because normally like by the time I'm like halfway through like the second burger, I'm just like forcing it down and I'm like, I don't want this anymore, but I'm going to eat it because I don't want to waste food. So I've realized I'm like, why don't I just get 1 burger and then if I'm hungry, too bad. So I've just been getting 1 burger and I'm like, wow, I don't feel like dying after I eat dinner now. Isn't that crazy? I'll stop eating usually if something is too much. Eating slowly helps. It does help. Like the other day when I was eating my, I think it was Sunday, whatever day I got like breakfast and I was like, it took me 2 hours to eat my breakfast. Like sometimes I'm just like so ravenous. You ever just have like the childhood trauma of your parents like forcing you to eat quickly because you're on the go, you gotta move, and so you have to eat quickly, and now all you do is just eat food quickly and like you fucking devour it. Joel always comments that I like house my food, and I'm like, I can't help it. It's just how I am. I try to think about like eating slowly, but then I forget. Always overeat. Like, yeah, because like your brain doesn't have time to like catch up with your stomach when you're like just shoving food in your mouth. I could eat 12 hard shell tacos. Sometimes I think so. Me and my friend Ashley used to when we were not teenagers, probably like 20 to like 24. We used to get like the dinner boxes from Pizza Hut, and just between me and her, just absolutely fucking just devour those. And now we look back on it and we're like, that was disgusting. That was foul what we did. Can't imagine shoving food down my throat. I'm a slow eater, always been. I don't know, it's like I think it's just like how I was raised and like because my brother used to go-kart race and then he used to stock car race a lot. So we were traveling a lot to go to like his races. So a lot of the times like we were on the go and just like fucking gotta eat quick. And that's just like stayed with me. I also like my other thing is I don't want to waste time eating. I don't particularly find joy in eating. I could be doing other things. That's some sort of like mental issue, I'm sure, but it's like the same about like sleeping, where I'm like, I don't normally when I'm like, I don't want to sleep, but then when I do fall asleep, I'm like, it's hard for me to wake up. But like practical food, yeah. Like I can appreciate some really good, delicious dishes, delicious food, and delicious like beverages and things like that. But I'm like, meh. I was always trying to beat my dad and eating when I was a kid. Probably learned. Yeah, it's definitely a learned behavior. I think also eating slow is like a learned behavior as well, where it's like being around like I'm sure like parents or siblings who like taught you that like, oh, you eat slow, drink some water. HP regeneration. That's what I'm doing right now. Parents eat slow, meals were long, talked a lot, definitely learned behavior. See, like, also, when from like ages like 12 to like 12, 13, I was like eating in my room or just like not eating at the table either. So it's just like I would just eat and then like go put my plate in the sink. Or if I was sitting at the table, I ate really quickly to avoid conversation with my family. And if I ate quick enough, I could play Nintendo. Also that. I kind of don't know what else I really want to work on today. I anticipated the drill and the geth would take me a little bit longer, but like we kind of breezed through that. I also feel bad only streaming an hour and a half. But like, that's not your guys' problem. That's a me problem. I'll probably put it up on itch as like pay what you want. Just because I don't know about the implications of trying to like garner money from like the Mass Effect IP. I'm sure I'd get like a fucking cease and desist from BioWare or EA. Yeah, I'd probably just do like pay what you want. Put it up for free. It's definitely going to be for personal use until I work out all the kinks and everything and get it kind of looking how I want. It's obviously not going to look like this. One thing I'm really excited about is doing like all of like the graphic design and layout for this. Because that's like my bread and butter. I like doing some graphics and stuff. Got some. No, I actually don't. This is like this is the first game I've ever like worked on mechanic wise. So this is like my first foray into game design. I don't know how much game design it actually is with me kind of just ripping from the Year Zero engine, but it's my first foray into game design. And I chose to do something a little bit complicated, but not that complicated, I guess, because I have a lot to kind of draw from in terms of like the wiki and everything. Just some other things for game jams, but never published a proper game. Nice! Have you, are you in the TTRPG collective? They've got a couple of game jams going on right now. Clone it for your first time. Thank you, Sippy. I feel like I'm also just like the type of person when I'm like, when I decide to do something, I'm gonna do it. Probably at the detriment of myself and my sanity. I'm gonna fucking do it. You advised me the last stream. Okay, good. I tell a lot of people, I'm like, go join the collective if you're really into TTRPGs, so. But yeah, they're doing a couple, I think they have a couple of jams going on right now. I've always wanted to do like a game jam, but I get a little nervous. I don't really know how they work. And at this point, I'm too afraid to ask. At this point, I'm like, I think it's just too late to ask now. I think it's just too late. Borg, Frontier Scum, translated simple OSR to my language. Nice! Borg is a very popular one, I feel. I've seen a lot of like Borg like supplements, third-party supplements. Damn, Sarabot was quick with that. They probably won't dissolve you in acid, but that's if it's your first time. You don't know that. I don't know, man. They could. too nervous. Sometimes I'll see people like talking like game mechanics and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't think I'm like qualified to have an input here, but I do have some thoughts. Also, system neutral adventure I will publish in about 10 days. OSR adventure. Nice! Oh, what's like the theme of the adventure, if you don't mind me asking? I didn't know what a game jam was until I looked at it. So I always thought like a game jam was, because I've seen it in terms of like video games. So I never knew that there was like TTRPG game jams until I saw people talking about them in the collective last year. Fun is fun. And like, I don't know, I just like, I feel like I'm like not, like I've got a couple of like ideas that I've wanted to do. Cozy Fae shenanigans. I love that. I love Fae, dude. I love cozy. Cozy Fae? Hell yeah. I don't have enough of an attention span to participate in a game jam. Like I've wanted to do, like I've looked at a couple of them and it's just like, I don't really know where to start. Because like sometimes like I'll go and I'll like look up like the rules or everything, and it doesn't actually like I need a step-by-step rules. I need like column. I need step 1, step 2, step 3. So you do one more playtesting and tweaks on the adventure. Nice. Okay. Cool. Please post in like the collective when you do like put it up in the self promo. Because I would love to read through that and maybe play it if I ever get the time. I've been trying to find I've been actually organizing all of my TTRPGs that I have. Slowly but surely. I just kind of like anytime I have like a little bit of like free time during the day, I'll just go in and like add like 5 to the catalog, but I've been cataloging all of the TTRPGs I have. I think I have like 100 so far cataloged, and I'm like maybe an 1/8 of the way through my list. Yeah, give me a second. Oh, it's tarot based? I love that. I love that so much. Snooze that ad. The game I'm doing now is tarot based. Nice. I like tarot-based games. I feel like my friend Jay is doing we're actually playtesting a game for him next weekend. We're doing a playtest for one of his games. And it's like a tarot-based like 1800s investigation. Oh my god. That is so sick. I like the design for that. Is it gonna be like pamphlet? I love a pamphlet. That's so cool. Oh yeah, I'm gonna pick that up. I'll totally fucking pick that up when you publish it. I love me a pamphlet. I was telling all of when we were doing our community one shot, because I did Cretaceous Moon, which was like a little pamphlet module for Mothership.
I've like developed like a new love for pamphlet modules because like they give you just enough to run the adventure and then also leave like so much for you to like design narratively. I think now I'm just yapping to yap. When you realize you're just a yapping lady. I have a ton of trifold adventures for so many games, so versatile. Yeah, I love like I've gotten there's a couple of I have on like my wish list, specifically like mothership based ones. That I'm probably going to end up buying just because I ran this one and I was like, "Oh, wait." Like cuz I've never run a pamphlet before and I was like I was worried that like it was going to be not enough, but it like was just enough. You had to survive, Scythie. If you didn't survive, no one else would have. Yeah, I think that I'm gonna kind of end it here. Just because I have I kind of want to work on like the equipment and stuff. That's probably gonna be something that's gonna be off stream. You want to do D6 base? Can you realize? So this is so it's like a pre because the one, I love dice pools. I love a dice pool. If you let me like roll a bunch of dice, I'm like super into that. I love rolling dice, especially multiple dice at once. And I think that you get to I feel like with a dice pool, especially because you're pulling from the attribute numbers that you have, your attribute and your skill numbers, you get a little, I feel like there's just a little bit more player agency in that capacity. I think like a D100 system is really cool. The mothership is basically a D100 system, so you have to roll below your specific stat check or save that you're trying to make. And I do like that. I just think that it gives you enough for a D6 system. It gives you enough where like the probability of you succeeding is fairly good depending on the dice pool that you roll. I just really like dice pools. I've liked them since I first played VTM back in like 2020. I was like, wait, I can have a pool of dice? This is fun. I like having multiple dice. I also like, because the whole thing is that you have your dice pool and then you also have your stress dice pool. So obviously the more dice that you roll, the higher the probability is that you're going to roll a 6 and succeed. But there's also that the more stress dice you roll, the more of a chance there is that you're going to roll a 1 and panic. I just remember getting a DM from Ad, time to leave, just you and me. Send Myriad to Vegas. I would probably have a hard time in Vegas. I would be a little overwhelmed, overstimulated. Please don't talk to me. There's loud noises happening. Just put me, if I could go on a silent table to roll some dice, that'd be nice. But yeah, I like the fact that with like the D6 dice pool is you want more dice in order for the higher chance of success. However, that high number of dice also comes at a cost. The increased chance of panicking because of the high dice pool is something I'll have to wrap my brain around. Yes. So it's because I'm trying to like formulate like my logic thought about like how the stress dice work. So when you accumulate stress, when you accumulate your stress die and those are added to your dice pool, they also give you, like, if you get a 6 on the stress die, that still counts as a success. And it's the more stressed you are, the more kind of attention to detail and attention to trying to get it right, you kind of have. So higher the stress, the more you are aware of what could happen when you fuck up, therefore you don't want to fuck up. So that kind of accounts for the stress dice when you roll a 6 counting as a success. However, because of that, because of the amount of stress dice that you are rolling, perform better under pressure. Exactly. However, because of that, it's because you are stressing out, there is that increase of panic if you do fail. I would not know what to do in Vegas. The one thing I like there closed down. Was that Vlad? Here we have Creature with the corporate talk. Representative of an expert operating at peak performance, but under greater stress because of it. It was a Battletech cockpit pod arcade? That sounds fucking sick. I don't know if you guys, if anyone else had this. This was in the mall when I was a teenager. They had like the little, it was like this little like 2-seater thing that you would sit in and you'd have to strap yourself in and it would like go up and down and like all around. And like, I remember just feeling very nauseous the one time I did it. And I was like, I never want to do that again. That was awful. Get me the fuck off this ride. The Excalibur show? Hokey pokey. Do the hokey pokey. Yeah, exactly. But I think we're gonna end it here. Myriad is gonna go finish eating her food and then probably try to do something productive. I don't know how well that's gonna work out. I really want to draw. I don't know what I want to draw though. I just know that I want to. Decision paralysis. Let's go, yeah, you guys are welcome. Let's go right over, we'll go right into, 12-Sided Goblin, since he is streaming and he was hanging out with us. We will be back here on Saturday for some more Mass Effect. And then I think Sunday we're gonna do art. Or maybe we'll do Stardew. I don't know yet. We haven't had a chance to play Stardew this week, and I think I'm fiending. I think I'm like crackhead fiending right now. So yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Also, I think I figured out the dates for April. I think the 12th we'll be doing our Shadow Dark one-shot, as long as that works for Sithy. That is Sithy's birthday one-shot. And then I think the 18th is we're going to watch Jurassic Park 3. So we'll make a formal announcement about that. But I was thinking about it today because Ad asked me about it today. So thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.